Welcome to the Dangerous Woman Era. This is Pretty Dangerous TV. I'm your host, Cheryl Janine. Before we get into the content, make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you'll be notified every time I upload a new video. I will never DM you or anything like that, and you have to go to my website to book my services. So let's get into this. The reason why most women stay in debt in relationships. Now, most of us have stayed in relationships way beyond its expiration date, right? Your spirit was drained. You knew it wasn't working, but you stayed. You stayed anyway. Even your friends were over it. So why is that though? Why is it that we stay? So today I'm going to be breaking down why we stay in these dead-end relationships too long and what it takes to finally walk away. So the first thing I want to get into is naming the pattern, because we tell ourselves stories to justify staying. The first thing is maybe he'll change, right? Now, see, I was married to a narcissistic, abusive man. And when I first started dealing with him, I saw the potential, right? We always see the potential. They don't see it. Nobody else sees it, but we see the potential. And the truth is maybe it really isn't there, right? But sometimes we think magically one day he's going to stop what he's doing. He's going to change his ways, and he's just going to be the person that we want him to be. And it's all a delusion. It's all in our head. It's something that we want to happen, but realistically, it's not going to. Another thing that we think is, I've already invested so much time. Now, this is one of those situations where you're holding on to somebody because of history and not because of purpose. Because where you're going in your life, the direction that you're moving in, your purpose, your evolution, your growth is going to require you to separate yourself from certain people. And that can include the person you're dealing with if they're not contributing anything to who you are and who you're becoming. So it's like we feel like we invested so much time and we got to stay. Right? I don't know if I've ever really thought that. I think I have at some point, but it was something like where he had convinced me that we needed to have the family structure. And if I didn't allow that to happen, then I was messing it up. Like I was just going to mess everything up if I just let this go and things like that. And so he wanted that so bad and he begged me for it. Even though the things that he was doing was chipping away at my love for him. So I got to a point where the love was just like, it just didn't live here anymore. It just didn't live here anymore. And it was chipping away so bad. It was like, I don't need, I'd be better off by myself. I'm okay with being alone. That's how it made me feel, because I was going through all the emotions and all the backlash of everything that he was doing. Right? I was really feeling it. And so all the time that I spent in this relationship, it wasn't contributing to anything that I was moving towards in my life. Not my growth, not my evolution, nothing. And the last pattern of thinking I want to talk about is at least I'm not alone. That whole thought, right? And I know a lot of women have gone through this. I haven't, because I was always okay with being alone. I just come to that conclusion, like, I'm okay with it. It's fine with me. But I know women who have, because I know women, friends, family members that have been in relationships. As soon as they get out of one, they jump right into another one. It's like they don't give themselves enough time to breathe, enough time to reflect, enough time to just be single and enjoy being single for a while. They jump right into the next thing. And so I know that's a thought that's going through their minds as to why they're staying in relationships, even if they leave one and go into another. But if they stay in the one that they're with and that's just not a good situation for them, that's why they're staying. Because they just don't want to be alone. I think some women are actually afraid of being alone. And a lot of times that could be because that alone time, they're going to see a mirror in that alone time. They're going to be able to do the reflection. They're going to be able to do the self-work right? It's going to show them a lot of who they really are. And I think some women are afraid to see that. They're just not ready. And that could be a reason as to why they're staying. And a real simple reason why women stay when they don't need to is because they just don't want to be alone, because they're looking for validation through the relationship. But underneath all of these excuses is something deeper, and that's called self-worth wounds. We accept less because a part of us believes that we don't deserve more. And that's the truth that nobody really wants to talk about. Now, there's something called the cycle of emotional attachment. And here's what happens. In the beginning, you get love bombed or fed just enough attention to hook you in. How many times have we seen somebody that looked fine? He talks, his talk game was just, he just said everything we wanted to hear to reel us in. And we just felt like that connection was so dope and so strong because, man, this man, he got everything. He got everything on point with what I need, right? That's how they get you. And that's how it is in the beginning a lot of times. I'm going to raise my hand to that's something that really hooks us and gets us going. So then there's that emotional attachment that comes in because they have said all the things we wanted to hear, all the things we needed to hear at the time, because a lot of times we get caught up in vulnerable states. Hey, they just show up at the right time. As soon as they come in and talking that good game, we're hooked. I know people, married people, men and women, who have said when they got married, that person switched up on them. They didn't even know who that person was. I had a cousin that told me, she said she had to reintroduce herself to her husband once they got married because she didn't know who he was. So what happens is your brain starts craving that high of connection. It becomes like a drug because it's going to regulate your emotions. And when the love turns inconsistent, when things start getting a little funky, you're going to cling harder because you're chasing that high and you're hoping that it's going to get back to the way it was in the beginning. The same way a drug, it happens when you're addicted to drugs. It's the same thing. It's the same cycle. So it's not just about the relationship. It's about the chemical roller coaster in your body. All of this is science. All this is about your nervous system. The cycle of hope, disappointment, and temporary reward is addictive. So let's get into it. Why is it that we ignore the truth? We stay too long because leaving forces us to face the very things that we're afraid of, which is just like what I said in the beginning. Facing loneliness. We're afraid of being alone. Facing the fear that we won't find anything better. And also facing the reality that we betrayed ourselves by settling. We betray ourselves when we settle. It's like, why do we need that validation so bad? Right? Why do we need to feel wanted? Why is that? Why can't we just confidently step up and level up on our own, at our own pace, in our own time, on our own terms, without being hooked to somebody? Sometimes it's easier to cling to dysfunction than to comfort the mirror. But here's the thing. You cannot heal in the same place that hurt you. And I want every woman to know that there is a shift into power. I was married for 2.5 years or so, and I've been happily divorced for 16. But I learned a lot within the years that I was married, even before the marriage and after the marriage. After I was done with everything. Because the moment you realize your worth is not negotiable, everything changes. A dead-end relationship, it doesn't feel like comfort anymore. It feels like a cage. And I can attest to that because I literally felt trapped. I felt like after we got married, this man was like, listen, I want to go back to the streets. What could I do about that? What could I, and I knew what that was going to be like. I knew it was going to be hell for me. And I can remember because I worked at the hospital, and every day when I would get off work, I knew what I was walking what I was going to walk into. I knew what I was going to walk into. And I literally felt trapped. There were days when I just did not even want to go home. Because not only was he a narcissist, not only was he abusive, he was an alcoholic. And you run in the streets, that was a lot. And I'm working and I'm going to school. We were on 2 different pages and it just wasn't going to work. So you have to realize your worth because everything shifts after that. So if you're in a situation and you know you've been there too damn long, ask yourself, what is this relationship costing me? Not what it's giving you, what is it taking away? Because every minute that you stay in the wrong place, you delay the right one from finding you. So I want you to remember that leaving isn't about loss, it's about liberation. And the most dangerous thing you can do is stop settling. So if this video woke up something in you, I want to know in the comments, what was one reason why you stayed in the past? And what was the last straw? How did you walk away? Why did you walk away? Right? Let's talk about it. And don't forget to subscribe because we're going to be diving into how to break the cycle of struggle love for good. All right, I'll see you next time.